Okay, Thalia, thank you so much for joining me on our call today. Thalia, you are from Dripping Springs, just outside Austin, Texas. Um, you were introduced to this technology for a challenge that you have, and you're going to share that story with us. But then you started sharing the technology with family members, and we're going to hear in particular about your son, Lance. So let's start with your story. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your ASEA result.
Sure. Thanks for having me tonight, Alan. I appreciate it. Yeah, so I try to stay active, and last year I did a big yoga challenge. I did yoga every day for 365 days and ended up at the end of that injuring my shoulder. And that led to what they call a frozen shoulder. I had very limited range of movement for about 7 or 8 months. I couldn't lift my arm much past maybe here at the most. They told me it would take 11 to 18 months to heal. I did everything: acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, all the things. And my friend Laura, who I did actually, she was a stranger at the time, but Laura Dentone found me on Facebook. We were discussing something kind of unrelated, but it led to a discussion about redox signaling molecules and what that was. And skeptically, I said, sure, I'll try it. I ordered the liquid and a gel. And I rubbed the gel on my shoulder 3 times in 5 minutes, much as you had described. And after the 5 minutes, at the time, I could cross my arms about like this. And within 5 minutes, I could stack my elbows like that. So it was a very significant jump in my range of motion. And that was pretty convincing. So I took a shot of the liquid and just had a rush, not, I wouldn't say a rush of energy. I just felt better. And my husband came home a couple hours later and was questioning me because obviously something had changed. I was up cleaning the house. I felt good. He could see the significant shift. So after that, I called Laura and I said, all right, I'm putting my whole family on this. I was pretty jaded about trying things for my family because we had spent so much money on my son. My son has spectrum behaviors. He has intellectual disability. He has verbal speaking issues, communication issues. He has so many things, sensory processing disorder. And we have spent probably upwards of $100,000 or more on stem cells and CBD and homeopathy and naturopaths and just everything you can imagine, every parasite treatments, all the things. And I was very jaded, but my results had been so profound that I felt I had to try it with my son. And I put the whole family on it. I called Laura and said, give me the biggest package that the company can give me with the biggest discounts. My thought was, get as much product for as little as possible,
Sure.
since there were going to be 4 of us on it. My husband had a neurological condition that had affected his speech the month prior, and he wasn't 100%. My daughter has some issues of her own, but within a week, my daughter's skin had cleared up. She was feeling better. My husband was down on our property doing manual labor in the hot sun, both in the mornings and the evenings in the Texas heat. And obviously something had changed for all of us. So I put my son on the product. He is 18, and out of all of us, he is the most challenging. He has sleep issues and all the other things I described. And the first month was difficult. He regressed. He was very energetic, hyper. Sleep was not good. I just saw a lot more rocking behaviors and a little bit of a spike in his aggression. And, it was all doable, though. We gave him CBD for calming. We gave him, some binders to help him detox, extra water, all the things. And we got through that first month. And then things sort of seemed to stabilize for him. And I was on the phone having a meeting with some of his teachers about his individualized education program, his IEP. And they mentioned to me that he had started spending a full hour in his PE class. Now, he goes to a special adaptive PE class where they have neurotypicals with him, paired with him. And he's been in this class since sixth grade. He's a senior in high school now, and he's never been able to stay in that class for more than 10 to 15 minutes. And if you try to keep him in there longer, he will hurt someone. He will bite them or hurt them. So if he says it's time to go, it's time to go. And the coach for that class said, I don't know what's going on, but Lance is different this year. He is in class for the full 60 minutes and he is participating. And that was a pretty big deal right there. They also mentioned that he was not spending so much time in the sensory room, that he was able to go into what they call the alternate curriculum class, where they have a little bit more higher functioning kids who have adaptive curriculums, but they're able to participate more. And so he was spending more time in there and learning with those kids. So that was a big deal. So I was really, really excited to hear that, but also skeptical. Again, we've done a lot of things and it's just really hard for me to get my hopes up sometimes. Well, last week was Thanksgiving and we go down to the coast every other year. That's just something that we do. We go down to the beach and we stay. And typically that's a stressful time for me. I've got to keep my eye on Lance. He's going to be a problem usually, but we know that's part of it. There's a little ceramic store in this little town where we go, and every year Lance goes and picks something out and he spends about 10 minutes covering that something, whatever the thing is, in red paint. And it's a particular red paint. It has black speckles in it. When you heat the ceramic, the red turns red with black. And he does this every year. And this is one of his red objects that he colors every year, and it's all red. And he spends about 10 minutes in there doing it. I'm lucky if I can get him to put a second coat on it. And this year we went into the ceramic store and he picked out a different red, which was a kind of a surprise. And so, okay, he wants that red instead. And I was ready to turn around, sit down, but then he wanted a black and he wanted a gray and he wanted a yellow, which was very confusing for me. I didn't know what was going on. But I gave him all the colors and I'm kind of standing back looking at this. And then he started to paint. And what he painted was this little motorcycle. And I hope you can see that, the light is yellow and the grips on the handlebars are black and the tires are black and the seat is black. And there was just all this detail. And he spent about 40 minutes painting this motorcycle. So I don't know if you guys can really see the difference here, but for me, this was a...
And Thalia, we're the red get me started.
Yeah.
The red, all red one. That wasn't just one time. I mean, this is his sequence for the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh yeah, or more. Yeah, this is what he always does. And
what it is.
You know, it's a car, it's a truck, it's a motorcycle, it's whatever. And I would have others to show you, but he likes to leave them around the property and he hides them in various places. And so this was the one I could get a hold of, but there's several of these. But this has been going on for years.
I mean,
so for him to walk in this Thanksgiving and do this was a huge big deal. I mean, I'm still kind of pinching myself about it. It's such an amazing, to me, this is the Christmas gift of all time. I'm wearing red tonight. It's his favorite color. So I kind of match these little things. But anyway, the next day was the day before Thanksgiving, and my daughter and I planned a big shopping trip to a very large grocery store. And normally I would not take my son, or if I did take him, I would also bring what they call a rescue med, which is a pharmaceutical that can calm him down very quickly if he gets aggressive. And I just had a feeling he could handle it. he had spent so much focus and care on that little motorcycle, and he'd been so calm, and the trip had been so easy. So we went to the grocery store, we bought all the things, the turkey and the trimmings and the vegetables. We did this big shop with a lot of people on the busiest day of the year, most likely. And he handled it with flying colors. I mean, he was a rock star. Towards the end, he was asking to leave, but I was like, well, we'll go to Michael's afterwards. We got a few more things. He did great. We were in the car going home just celebrating. And afterwards we went to Michael's, we went to Starbucks and got him an almond milk hot chocolate for a treat. And he was just awesome. And then the rest of the trip, Thanksgiving Day was great. The other things that we noticed on that trip, he was asking to go to the pool or go to the beach instead of just taking off and us having to figure out where he was or send out a search party. I was able to relax for the first time on any holiday since I can remember, since my kids were born. It was the first time I've been able to just enjoy. I almost didn't know what to do with myself.
And just to, and I know you've got one more story to share here, kind of coming into the Christmas season, but just so our listeners are very, very clear, he had that first month where there was a regression, perhaps detox. The body was kind of resetting itself a little bit. But then what we're talking about here is really only 6 weeks. So a month plus another 6 weeks. Is that correct? So about 2.5 months on the product?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly because it was all sort of, once he kind of stabilized out of that first hard month, and I hardly noticed, it was sort of gradual where he got kind of stable. I just sort of forgot. We were just sort of on autopilot. I should say that we dropped the dosage down to 1 ounce a day at first, and we worked him up again to the 2 ounces twice a day. I still give it right after school. I don't give it close to bedtime. So it's hard to say like when we saw the changeover, but it was definitely the first month was really difficult. And in that second month, it's been 2.5, almost 3 months now.
Yeah.
This last month has been just amazing.
It's
so
still
far.
less than 90 days in total on this technology.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. It hasn't been 90 days yet.
So
I'm excited to see what the future brings with this too. We've also started nebulizing it as well. So I'm hoping for good things there. We also were using the gel on his skin, which helped his acne. And of course that would go down to the neck. So I do think that might have had some therapeutic benefit as well.
So tell us your Christmas story.
Oh, that's right. So this week we got home from our trip to the beach or whatever, and Lance was asking for the Christmas tree to come down. And I dreaded that because I usually have to do it all by myself, put up the tree, put up the ornaments, all the things. And it's usually just mom because nobody else cares except me and Lance. And sometimes he'll help. He'll put up some ornaments, but he loses focus. He gets bored very easily. This is a kid that can't sit through, 10 minutes of a TV show. So it's always on me. But this year, my husband, I said, okay, bring it down. I'll get to it sometime tonight. So my husband brought the things down. And next thing I knew, Lance was opening the box and had started taking the tree out. And I kind of didn't pay much attention. I thought he would just leave it out, strewn about. He wouldn't be able to do much with that. But as I turned around, I noticed he was putting the tree together. He had started with the base of the tree and was figuring out how to connect all the pieces and connect the wires. And I just sat there in awe. I started taking pictures. And next thing I knew, the tree was up with lights. And, I was so excited. I started, posting my pictures to Facebook. And I turned around and, the ornaments were going up. And pretty soon they were all up. And then I turned around again and all the papers that I wrapped my ornaments in that had been strewn around on the ground were all collected and put back into the tub. And the tree skirt was on the tree. So Lance literally did the tree top to bottom by himself, complete, without any prompting, any help, or any supervision whatsoever. And I'm looking at that tree right now, just still in shock.
Well, with your permission, so there's our before and after with his model painting, quite incredible.
Mhm.
And then here is the incredible Lance with his tree.
Yeah. Yeah,
Best Christmas tree ever. Mhm.
absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, just incredible. Thalia, thank you so much for sharing your story here today. Lance's story, how this technology is transforming his life and your family. It's very, very powerful. I have to say to everybody, of course, this technology is not a treatment or cure for any disease or medical condition. We're simply feeding our body for the first time ever these high energy molecules that can just bring our cells alive again, wake them up, help this signaling. Again, every organ, every function, every system of the body can benefit. And Lance is certainly receiving those benefits, as you are too. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you for giving up some time here today and sharing what is really a very personal story. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it.